altered history. For example, say John Terry had scored that penalty in Moscow in 2008. Chelsea would have been European champions and Avram Grant would have the biggest medal in continental club football to his name. It stands to reason then that he would have stayed at Stamford Bridge for a bit longer, meaning that Luis Felipe Scolari wouldn't have got a look in. Would he have done better than the World Cup winning Brazilian, who only lasted till February the following year? And could he have improved upon Chelsea's third-place finish? And as for United, who won the title that season, would defeats in that Moscow final have led to Cristiano Ronaldo leaving the club for Real Madrid a year earlier? And would that have meant that Rafa Benitez's Liverpool won the Premier League instead of them? That's a pretty big butterfly effect, all from one missed penalty kick going the other way. And if you want to dig a bit deeper, there's plenty more that could have been affected. What if Anthony Knockaert had scored his penalty against Watford? We'd have been denied the Troy Deeney moment, sure, but might Leicester have gone on to win promotion to the Premier League earlier than scheduled? And would that have meant that Claudio Ranieri would never make it to the King Power? Would Arsenal or Tottenham, therefore, have been champions in 2016? The most significant sliding doors moment perhaps ever, though, was Paul Gascoigne, Wembley, June 1996. What if this had gone in? That golden goal would have sent England to the Euro 96 final against Czech Republic. 30 years of hurt could well have come to an end. There's so many of these moments that could have altered destiny forever. What if Shearer had signed for United? Would Lampard's ghost goal against Germany have kick-started England's World Cup back in 2010? What if Sam Allardyce didn't get bogged down in all that controversy and denied Gareth Southgate the England job? Does make you think.
Good morning. This is Early Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Katie Shanahan here with you this Thursday morning. Spurs and Nottingham Forest are on the hunt for a new manager. Thomas Frank and Sean Dyche have both been sacked by Spurs and Nottingham Forest. 5 Premier League games last night, which we'll run through. There were wins for Aston Villa, Man City, Burnley and Liverpool, with a goalless draw between Forest and Wolves. And we are building up to a big day here on talkSPORT. The Breakfast Show is coming up at 6 a.m. with Alan Brazil and Gabby Bonhor. Nick is here. What's coming up on the show?
Morning, Katie. Yeah, we'll start with Sean Dyche's sacking, late night sacking. We've got reactions to another mad night in the Premier League. City win, closing the gap on Arsenal. Burnley, amazing comeback at Selhurst Park. Scott Parker saying their season is still alive. We'll hear from Brad Friedel on Donald Trump's World Cup. And we're asking, who's the most underrated manager in the EFL that Forest could go and get? As always, get involved in the usual number 03717 223344 or WhatsApp text 81089.
OK, let's get into the show. There were 5 games in the Premier League last night. Also want to mention that Celtic beat Livingston, Scottish Premiership, and Rangers drew 1-1 against Motherwell. I mean, I feel as though there is so much football going on at the moment. We reach this end of the season and we are drowning in football. But which games did you watch last night?
I didn't watch any of them.
OK. What highlights did you watch this morning?
I was in bed at 5:30 last night. Sometimes you just need to sleep.
5:30, and you slept through?
I watched the, I slept 8 hours from about 6:30 like a school child. I did see the City highlights this morning. Looks like the City ran 3 goals through Fulham.
I know.
I mean, listen, we've been talking about can they put a run together. I mean, Man City, I think, unbeaten in 12 games at home. The only problem is you'll get into in a minute Erling Haaland coming off with a little bit of a niggle. And I saw the Burnley highlights as well.
Yeah, what a great game that was. 5-goal thriller.
5 goals in the first half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, another crazy night. And then Arsenal have got to do the business tonight against Brentford. It's going to be tricky. You think Arsenal...
They should be able to get the job done at Brentford and then, just increase the gap to 6.
Havertz is out for a couple of games.
I know, which is a shame because I was at the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg when Kai Havertz came on and scored. And he's come back, same as Gabriel Jesus. They've both come back into the frame and done really well. But yeah, Arsenal just get a win tonight. Yeah, it's getting a little bit nervy.
If they don't win, it is properly game on. I know, I can see you're worried.
I know, I am a little bit worried. Well, I was watching Man City last night and they just look really good. They brought in Antoine Semenyo, who's got 5 goals in his last 8 games now.
Yeah.
And then they've got Mark Gay at the back, who's slipped in seamlessly. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit worried. Arsenal fans, if you want to give me a call, give me a little bit of a boost, then give me a call, 037172222. 22344.
I love watching Ryan Cherky. I think he's one of my new favourite players.
Yeah, he is a joy to watch, isn't he?
Not a typical Pep Guardiola player, but I think Guardiola's like, well, just going to get a massive goalkeeper. We've got a massive striker, and then find some guys that can, turn on the magic. Cherky's wondrous to watch.
Yeah. Nick, thank you very much for now. Only one place to start then. Nottingham Forest have sacked Sean Dyche, so they are now looking for their 4th permanent manager of the season. 4 permanent managers, wow. Owner Evangelos Marinakis made the decision after Forest drew 0-0 at home to rock-bottom Wolves, and talkSPORT reporter Ben Jacobs broke the news after midnight on Extra Time.
Marinakis deciding to once again be cutthroat, and Nottingham Forest, as a consequence, are yet again looking for a new manager. But it's suddenly more pertinent and urgent because when Postecoglou came in, it was about trying to challenge for European football, and nobody really thought at Forest, given their spending and the depth of the squad, that they could be sucked into a relegation battle. But the point against Wolverhampton Wanderers, a frustrating stalemate, only underlines the fact that Nottingham Forest could very seriously, of course, go down, and that's why this change has been made once again. And the question is, who might want the role now, knowing not only that Nottingham Forest are battling relegation and they don't have a window to work with this season, but as importantly, the right fit is going to have to be found, somebody that can coexist in a football club that is proving itself to be extremely cutthroat.
Well, Marinakis is known to be a fan of Fulham boss Marco Silva, who's got a contract with Fulham until the end of the season. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in the summer. But Marinakis was visibly furious watching their goalless draw against Wolves. Forest had 35 chances and still didn't score. And we are told 5 senior players were called in to see the owner. Forest are out of the FA Cup, so they're not playing this weekend. But it'll be interesting to see who comes in at Nottingham Forest. Forest fans, you can give me a call this morning, 03717 222344, and let me know who you would like to have. And after their goalless draw with Wolves, but before his sacking, we asked Sean Dyche about the boos at the City Ground.
Yeah, I've got no question of the fans here. No question of them. There's a high expectation on what we could deliver here. We're somewhat delivered in the sense we won 4, drawn 1, lost 1 away in Europe. In our run in Europe. In this division, we came in here with 2 points of the relegation zone. We're now 3 points out of it, which is not massive, but it's still it's a change, and some really good moments in amongst it. But the demand is high, and we haven't delivered on the total demand. And when it's like tonight, and you dominate like that, it is very frustrating. That's for sure.
That was Sean Dyche speaking before he got sacked late last night. Where will Sean Dyche end up next, perhaps? Could he go to Spurs and try and save them from relegation? Personally, I think Spurs will not get relegated. They've got too much quality in that squad. But their next few games are big. They've got North London derby at home to Arsenal. Then they've got Fulham, Palace, then Liverpool. Forest fans, who would you like at your club next? As for Man City, well, they closed the gap to just 3 points. I feel a little bit nervous as an Arsenal fan this morning, as Man City looked prolific last night, and they're 3 points off the top spot after a thumping win over Fulham. There were also wins for Burnley, Villa and Liverpool. Here's how it sounded last night on talkSPORT.
Salah Palmer playing it back in, and it's in. Liverpool have the lead. Virgil van Dijk pretty much on the line, got his head to it, and Sunderland's long, proud, unbeaten home record is over. Sunderland 0, Liverpool 1.
City attacking again. Here's Haaland, edge of the area, shoots early! 3-0! 3 goals for City, 3 points incoming for City, and they're closing the gap on Arsenal to 3 as well.
Bailey's ball in, and in it goes! Tyrone Mings wheels away in celebration. It was a really hard-fought win for Aston Villa, and a vital one.
Cross the face, goal! Strand Larsen with his second diving header this time. He's got a hat-trick in 33.
This be the most remarkable turnaround.
Oh my word, Bashir Humphries heads it home. Well, the Palace fans were banging away at Glad all over. They're sad all over now. What a comeback. And boos ring around the City ground as Nottingham Forest failed to take advantage of the drop points West Ham did last night. They could only get a point themselves here against basement club Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah, it was a really impressive win for Man City last night as they closed the gap. 3 points off Arsenal, who play Brentford tonight, which you can listen to on talkSPORT. 8 o'clock kickoff for that one. So with the goals for Man City, it was Semenyo, O'Reilly and Haaland with first half goals. Semenyo, get this, has now scored 5 goals in his first 8 games for City. City are now unbeaten at home in 12 games, and they are breathing down Arsenal's necks. As for Erling Haaland, though, he had to be taken off at half-time with a niggle. And we asked Pep Guardiola if Haaland's okay.
Erling Haaland withdrawn at half-time. Anything to be concerned about? Any reports at this stage of an injury, or was that just precaution? Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I have niggles, have a discomfort after the first 45 minutes, and not because, of course, with 3-0 help, to don't take a risk, but even with 0-0, the doctor says it's better than play than do it.
Which makes sense, make sure he's all right. Let's see if he can be available for their next game this weekend. Erling Haaland, as at the moment, get this, they've scored, for club and country, Erling Haaland has scored 42 goals. 22 of those have been scored in the Premier League. Well, as for Man City this weekend, they face Salford City at home. Then their next Premier League game is against Newcastle at home. Then they've got Leeds and Nottingham Forest, and then West Ham. So you feel as though they're going to pick up points and keep the pressure on Arsenal. As for Burnley against Crystal Palace, what a game this was, by the way, at Selhurst Park. Burnley came back from 2-0 down to beat Crystal Palace 3-2. So we asked Scott Parker if Burnley's season is still alive.
It is still alive, yeah. But I asked the group tonight to strip everything back. Let's just we're going down to London here, and let's just strip everything back. Let's not think about what's happened, the adversity we faced. Can we go down here? 11v11 and a one-off game, can we go and beat Crystal Palace? And that was our main focus tonight, and that's the way we'll continue, really. So let's not worry about points or who's that. We're not in that state at this present moment in time. That's the cold hard facts. We want to look at a league table. We look at the journey or what's next. And it's irrelevant. And where we are, and as fragile as we were at that moment, it would only make things worse. So we've ticked a box tonight. We need to continue.
Well, Burnley are still 9 points from safety, and it was crazy first half with 5 goals. Jørgen Strand Larsen got 2 on his Palace home debut before Burnley scored 3 inside 7 first half minutes to take the lead. Dubravka produced a fine save to deny Sarr right at the end. Burnley's first win since the end of October. Well, elsewhere in the Premier League, third place Aston Villa got past Brighton by 1-0. Champions Liverpool were 1-0 winners at Sunderland, the home team's first league defeat this season at the Stadium of Light. Right, today we're asking you this morning, keep those texts coming in, and just one quickly here goes, good morning Craig in Windsor, goes, good morning lovely Katie. First of all, don't worry about Arsenal, we will be fine. I hope so. Happy Thursday. I've almost finished the night shift, and after a sleep we'll be having a chilled day. Then the Arsenal play tonight, a must-win. City only 3 points behind, but have total confidence that we'll beat Brentford, even without Kai Havertz, which is a huge blow. Also a win silences the media's Man City narrative for a time. So, Craig and Windsor, thank you so much for your text this morning. Very loyal listener to Early Sports Breakfast. With me, Katie Shanahan, this morning, we're asking you, who's the most underrated EFL manager that Nottingham Forest could go and get? We're trying to put a positive spin on all of these managerial sackings in some way. So let's give the EFL a little bit of love and say, who do you think out of the EFL managers could come in and take over potentially at Nottingham Forest after we saw Sean Dyche is the latest manager to leave. You can give me a call, 03717 223344. You can text me 81089. Up next, we're going to be getting the best of the back pages and get involved in our Thursday quiz today. It's 5:15. Good morning.
Legendary retired referee Dermot Gallagher joins us here on the show. How are we, Dermot?
Hi, Majestic. Hi, Al.
Hi, Dermot.
Listen, let's just get your thoughts off that straight off the bat. We don't want to ask you no questions. You're the ref. Tell us what you saw.
I have to say, I get what Alan says, and I think lots and lots of people will say, give the goal. It keeps 11 against 11. It keeps everybody happy. But when you look at it, there's no doubt whatsoever Szoboszlai is fouled, and by Haaland fouling him, he will argue that stopped him clearing the ball off the line. But you go back, the only reason Szoboszlai gets that far back is because he actually hauls Haaland back. That's the first foul. So I don't think I think Craig has tried to play advantage because he thinks it'll be a goal.
Definitely, Dermot. He's played advantage, isn't he?
Yeah, he's played advantage, and bear in mind, Al, that he can always bring that back if it goes wrong. So
but if you go to the second part, right?
A very good morning. This is Early Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan. Good to have your company. Keep those texts coming in, 81089. We are talking about the football managerial merry-go-round, as Sean Dyche is the latest one to jump off after he was sacked by Marinakis at Nottingham Forest. Spurs, they're also looking for a Thomas Frank replacement. A number of the back pages are going with one more time on the back page of the Mirror with Mauricio Pochettino. Roberto De Zerbi on the back page of the Eye wants the Tottenham job, and also there's a similar story on the back page of the Guardian as well. So let's see who comes in at Spurs. More on that very shortly. Man City also closed the gap to 3 points after a 3-0 win over Fulham. We are building up to a big day here on talkSPORT with the breakfast show coming up at 6 a.m. with Alan Brazil and Gabia Bornhor in the show today before Jim White and Simon Jordan get stuck into the day's biggest subject from 10 a.m. A few more things you need to know about this morning. Rangers have cut Hearts' lead at the top of the Scottish Premiership to 5 points, but they were held to a 1-1 draw at fourth-placed Motherwell. Celtic are now 6 points behind Hearts in third after a 2-1 win over bottom club Livingston at Parkhead. In the Championship, Charlton got a 1-0 victory at home to Stoke to move 7 points clear of the relegation zone. The winner came 9 minutes from time. Stoke remained 4 points away from the playoff places. And Liverpool's Andy Robertson says inflicting Sunderland's first home defeat of the season was pleasing, but it's up to them to kick on now and make sure they finish top 4. Robertson told us Liverpool's inconsistency this season is down to bad luck and fine margins.
Never been a lack of effort, it's never been a lack of fight in terms of the lads. It's just sometimes a lapse of concentration right at the end. How many goals have we conceded late on, especially at the start of the season from set pieces and things like that. You know, today we were very good. They're a really tough set piece team with Ballard and things like that attacking the box, and I thought we marshalled them well in terms of our big lads were the ones getting their head on the ball, our lads were the ones clearing the ball away, and then obviously we go and score from our own set piece. So it was a real pleasing performance, but we have to use it as momentum to kick-start this next part of the season.
Yeah, so let's see how they get on. Liverpool, that 1-0 win over Sunderland, a big win for them last night, especially Sunderland hadn't lost all season. So, Liverpool in 6th, Sunderland down to 11th now, but they have still had a really good season. For more on all the day's biggest stories, you can go to talksport.com. You can also come and say hello if you're watching us on your smart TVs. We're available on your Samsung, LG Fire TV, Apple Chromecast, Android, Google TV, and Prime Video 2. TalkSport is there, so pop it on and you can watch the show. The latest episode of How to Win the World Cup is now live for you. Matt Ford and Tim Vine speak to former USA goalkeeper Brad Friedel all about how the hosts are preparing ahead of the tournament this summer. Here's Brad on the presence of Donald Trump and how much of a central role the president will play this summer.
I hope for 30 days it's just all about the football.
I mean, he's going to be at the final, isn't he?
Of course he is.
And I want to say, I think it's very sad that Bart, he used to play in goal for America, and now look at him. He's got a British passport. The guy's a total traitor. And he lives in the Bahamas in an all-inclusive, and he sits there getting his free breakfast. And he used to love America, and now he doesn't, and I think it's very sad.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with loving America or not. It's just.
I think he'll want to ref it, won't he? He'll want to ref the final. That would be.
Okay, let's.
He'll be handing over the trophy, won't he? At the very least.
I found the I mean, listen, if he hands over the trophy, it's fine. I got no problem with that. If that happens in most countries.
Brad Friedel there on How to Win the World Cup, which is available for you wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, thanks so much for all your texts coming in this morning. Really interesting to get your insights. We are asking you, who's the most underrated EFL manager that Nottingham Forest could go and get until the end of the season? We've had a number of you texting in. Kieran, good morning, Kieran. He goes, I quite like Chris Wilder. I think he's quite underrated. Yes, he certainly is. And he's got bags of experience, hasn't he, as well? We've also got here... David Hutchinson, good morning, David. He goes, Katie, the answer for Nottingham Forest is the same as always. It's Big Sam. Still gutted he left Sunderland. EFL-wise, Kieran McKenna, I've got a lot of time for. Kieran McKenna, so I'm seeing most weekends because I'm following Ipswich around at the moment, it seems, for work. But Kieran McKenna, what a brilliant manager he is as well. And he's doing good things for Ipswich. They're third in the table. Still Middlesbrough, top of the table at the moment, then Coventry, and then Ipswich, Hull City and Millwall just closely behind them. So also this one here from Jam from Dudley goes, good morning, Katie. Regular listener as living in Nottingham now and see how big football is to them. If I were to go and get a manager from the EFL, I'd have to say, same again, Kieran McKenna or Frank Lampard, who's at Coventry. But if we were going to go for managers that's available now for the short term, probably take a punt on Maresca. Okay. Potentially, or Brendan Rodgers, if he's available. Okay. Let me know. Keep those texts coming in, 81089. That is today's talking point. You can give me a call also, 03717 223344, and you can also give us your reaction to Spurs and Forest today. Okay, now it is time for today's top 5. This is where we like you guys to get involved in the show. This is our very dramatic quiz.
I haven't had the question yet.
I know, but I thought I'd give you the dramatic music. The entrance. Nick Ellaby is here. What is our today's top 5 quiz?
Well, today's top 5 is which clubs have made the most managerial changes in their history. Bit of a random one, but quite a fun little.
Are we sticking just to the Premier League, or is it all of the English Football League?
All of the English Football League.
I'm going Watford.
No.
No, Watford. Watford have made so many.
In history. Yeah.
Big clubs, small clubs. I mean, we're talking everyone here.
Big clubs, yeah.
Tottenham,
not in the top. Oh, yeah, Tottenham, yeah, number 2.
Number 2.
26 changes.
Oh, wow. Okay, number 2. And okay. West Ham?
West Ham are 11th, 14 changes. This is Premier League. My mistake.
Okay.
That's why Watford aren't in
I
there.
was thinking, Watford have made so many.
Watford have made about 20 in the last 3 years.
Yeah. So how far are we going in their history?
In Premier League history, yeah. Tottenham, 26 changes.
Quite like this.
26 changes for Tottenham.
Current, okay. Man City?
Man City? No, they've made 11 changes. They're down in 13th.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were looking down. Okay. How about, I'm looking at the Premier League table, how about Everton?
Everton are 5th.
Oh, 5th?
23 changes.
Okay, so...
You've got Tottenham in 2nd, Everton in 5th. So we're looking for 3 more clubs who have made more changes than Everton, who've made 23 in the Premier League. Should we give it over to
I
us?
think we've got one more. A club that made a lot of managerial changes. And were quite ruthless, actually, at times.
Yeah.
Especially under Abramovich.
Yeah, go on.
Chelsea.
Correct.
There we go.
26 changes.
26?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so run us through where we're up to.
So one club has made 27 changes in Premier League history. We haven't got them yet. Tottenham have made 26. They're in 2nd. Chelsea also made 26. They're in 3rd. And then you're missing number 4. Everton are 5th with 23 managerial changes in the Premier League.
Okay, so Reese also has
more.
texted in with
Yep.
Everton. Well done, Reese. Keep those texts coming in. That's really interesting. 81089 about how many changes in their history, in the Premier League history. We're going back to 1992, are we?
We are going back to 92, yeah.
Okay,
When times were good.
All right. Listeners, I need your help to get the remaining answers. You can text me 81089. Nick, just remind people of the question.
Which clubs have made the most managerial changes in Premier League history? You've got Tottenham at the top. You've got Tottenham are 2nd, Chelsea 3rd, Everton 5th. We're looking for the top. Who's made 27 changes and who's in 4th with 24 managerial changes?
Okay, right. 81089 for those answers. Right. Okay, where would we like?
We're going to fly through
start
this.
with the back pages.
My favourite headline, Star Sport, right up there, Arsenal. Earl and co turn the screw. Just 3 points now after Man City's big win at Fulham. Early finish for Hitman, though. Haaland came off with niggles. We've got to see how bad that injury is to Erling Haaland. Could be decisive in the title race. We'll get into Spurs after the break, but they're looking at potentially Robbie Keane, Roberto De Zerbi and Mauricio Pochettino potentially coming back in the summer. Maybe Johnny Heitinger as well, who was working under Thomas Frank. Could be an option to take over at Spurs in the interim. What I want to get stuck into is big Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who says, my unpopular decisions are paying off. This is in the back of the eye paper. Some unpopular decisions he's made at Man United, he believes, are now paying off. Sacking 2 managers, Eric Ten Hag and Ruben Amorim. Also cutting a load of staff as well. No more free lunches. But he's saying we're beginning to see some evidence the football club is improving. I would say he's absolutely stumbled into the appointment of Michael Carrick, and I don't think that's doesn't seem like it was planned in any way. He's also said the UK has been colonised by immigrants, and Manchester United fan group The 58 called him a total embarrassment for saying that. It was on an interview with Sky News. So Jim Ratcliffe said, you can't have an economy with 9 million people on benefits and huge levels of immigrants coming in. I mean, the UK has been colonised by immigrants, really, hasn't it? I think he's got a good point on the number of people we've got in this country on benefits, but he's also spouting a load of rubbish. He said that the UK's population had gone from 58 million to 70 million in the last 6 years. That's not true at all. It's probably gone up by about 2 or 3 million in the last few years. So it just proves you can be really smart and fall for a lot of conspiracy theory rubbish. And also, people like him need to be careful when they're saying
They need
things
to be
like
really careful. He can't just come out and say things like that. Obviously, it's going to be front page news and all over online. And, you know, he's got enough problems going on in terms of just keeping things afloat at Manchester United. Things are pretty good, but they need to maintain kind of the form that they're on. And then do they stick with Michael Carrick or not? He doesn't need to be getting involved in politics.
Man United Muslim Supporters Club saying the term colonised is not neutral. It echoes language frequently used in far-right narratives that frame migrants as invaders. Such rhetoric has real consequences. I just hope everyone feels like they can be included and enjoy themselves at the football without Jim Ratcliffe saying stupid stuff like this. We haven't even got time to get into the IOC helmet row, but a Ukrainian skeleton rider, I don't know if you've seen it, it's got pictures of war dead on his helmet. The IOC have threatened to disqualify him, but he says he's not breaking any rules. The IOC rule is that no kind of demonstration or political or religious racial propaganda is permitted in any Olympic sites. There's no wording on his helmet. It's just pictures of athletes that have been killed in Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine.
Gosh. Okay.
He's up today in the skeleton, so keep an eye on the Winter Olympics.
Okay, I actually will be watching.
Heraskevich, the guy.
Yeah, I've actually been really enjoying watching the Winter Olympics and popping it on and seeing what's going on.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It's brilliant. I love it. I covered it for the last one, which was great fun. Nick, thank you very much. Good to have you back in the studio. Right, we are building up to our last half an hour of the show. You're listening to Early Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Up next, we're going to be having some fun with the front pages and also delving into Tottenham, what happened at Spurs and who could be their next manager. All of that coming up next. It's 5:30.
Did you think that the Super Bowl would get such a thumping up against the Premier League offering of Liverpool-Manchester City? I thought it would be much, much closer. You're talking about a difference of 500 million.
You are. But you're talking about, I mean, I've had this argument with Brian T. Smith, who comes in here, who I very much like, and makes the case that the Champions League final, I'd say, dwarfs the Super Bowl, and he makes his argument about scale. It makes my argument. Of course it makes my argument. But then you have to look back underneath it and say, this is a worldwide global audience that's watching the Premier League, watching arguably the biggest game in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And you've got multitude of broadcast deals around the world for global sports. Ostensibly, despite inroads into various countries where you've had the NFL on tour and it's made its way into Germany and it's made its way into Poland and it's made its way into the UK, it's a North American sport. And so I'd be fascinated to see, outside of the North American broadcasting numbers, how many of the 220 million people that watched it were outside of North America.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to wager you that well, clearly it's obvious because the population of this country is only 70 million, that 90%, 95% of the people that watched the Premier League game between Liverpool and Man City was around the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And when the NFL gets its act together, which it's trying to do, and makes this a global sport, and makes it a participation sport and a viewing sport in all the four-flung corners of the globe.
Sport is often filled with people trying to make a quick buck, often at fans' expenses. But sometimes someone on the fringes comes up with an exhibition idea that goes down a storm. Let me tell you about a couple of them. Mallorca 2007. Rafa Nadal and Roger Federer compete in what was dubbed the Battle of the Surfaces, a unique idea that reportedly almost got cancelled at the last minute when worms got into the grass. An 11th hour turf delivery got the match on, and despite despite some dodgy bounces on the new green stuff, Rafa and Roger slugged out a 3-set epic. Tennis has a history of exhibitions too, with the Battle of the Sexes in 1973 captivating audiences worldwide as Billie Jean King took on the former world #1 men's player Bobby Riggs, who talked down the women's game. Billie Jean King won. In motorsport, there was Monzanapolis in the 50s when American Indy cars went up against European F1 cars. But perhaps the best exhibitions have been the charity ones. In 1998, legends like Mike Atherton, Sachin Tendulkar and Glenn McGrath turned out at Lord's for a one-dayer in memory of Princess Diana. And since 2006, we've had Soccer Aid, which has raised an incredible amount of money. And if you get to see the likes of Jose Mourinho taking out Ollie Mers, then what's not to like?
Good morning. I'm Katie Shanahan and this is Early Sports Breakfast. Good to have your company this morning. We are building up to the talkSPORT Breakfast Show and a big day on talkSPORT with Alan Brazil and Gabby Bonhall coming up from 6 a.m. So the boys will be here in 25 minutes' time. Here are some of the headlines you're waking up to this Thursday morning. Team GB's wait for a medal at the Winter Olympics goes on after disappointment for figure skaters Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. The pair finished 7th after the free dance, with gold going to France. Britain's Lando Norris had a strong start to the first official testing ahead of the Formula One season. The world champion topped the timesheet in Bahrain ahead of Red Bull's Max Verstappen. And England's cricketers are moving to Kolkata after losing to the West Indies by 30 runs in Mumbai at the T20 World Cup. Harry Brooks' side are now third in Pool C, having scraped past Nepal in their opening game. Brooks says England's batting wasn't up to scratch.
One thing I would say was we were probably a little bit careful. Chasing nearly 200 is always a big ask. And like I said, we didn't think that we thought the pitch would get a little bit better and it'd slide onto the bat a bit more, and that didn't happen. But like I said, we were probably a little bit careful, myself included.
OK, for more on all the day's biggest stories, remember you can go to talksport.com. Right, our top story on Early Sports Breakfast today is that Sean Dyche has been sacked. The Forest owner, Evangelos Marinakis, made the decision after their goalless draw at home to Wolves. And our reporter Ben Jacobs actually broke the news and said that the club has a bit more time to find a successor before they go away to Fenerbahce.
So that Thursday game is, of course, a week on Thursday, 19th of February, rather than this Thursday. And I think that as they piece together the next plan, they'll have to decide whether, like some other clubs, Manchester United, for example, they need to find a safe pair of hands between now and the end of the season, or if they can bring the right manager in immediately. And naturally, there will be reticence amongst some managers walking into Nottingham Forest Football Club, knowing that however things pan out, Marinakis is unpredictable, and it's quite clear that unless somebody comes in and keeps Nottingham Forest up, that manager is obviously not going to last.
Well, another manager that didn't last was Thomas Frank, who's also been sacked from Spurs. Spurs are 16th in the Premier League and just 5 points above the relegation zone following a dreadful run of form without a win in 8. And I'm delighted to say Sim Wright, talkSPORT producer and Spurs fan, has joined me in the studio. Right, first of all, what went wrong for Thomas Frank, do you think?
Well, he didn't really get the fans straight away with the style of play, I think. I don't think that really worked. No one really knew what he was trying to do with the team. It started off so well because I think when we got rid of Ange, the first thing that people said was, or everything that we were saying for kind of the 2 years of him, that when it wasn't going so well, was we need someone to be a little bit more pragmatic, a bit more defensively solid, and it started that way under Thomas Frank. Obviously, we nearly won the Super League, the Super Cup, against PSG. 1-2-0 away at Man City, so these were kind of statement wins to start with. But it's just, I think the London derby defeats, especially the one at home to Chelsea at first, where we kind of didn't lay a glove on him, didn't really help him. Then obviously the battering at Arsenal, which obviously you enjoyed a lot, I think, as an Arsenal fan.
Yes, and the next game is a North London derby as well. Who would you take then? Let's move this on. I mean, Sean Dyche is now available.
Do you know what I would actually, because it's so like Tottenham fans want Pochettino so much, because everything else has failed since him, and no one's kind of had the same connection. People have tried. Ange is obviously will always be grateful for that trophy he brought us, but the connection that Tottenham had with Pochettino, and he's still kind of courting after us in the media, kind of talking. He's always talked up the club. There's been sort of the understanding of a few people that there was always a chance of him coming back, and Daniel Levy was actually in favour of it. Obviously, Daniel Levy's not there anymore, but kind of there was never enough people to kind of back his return. So going back to the Sean Dyche idea, I feel like he's someone who'd do it short term, and in terms of the Premier League now, it's all about survival. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's all about survival now.
I know. But then in your European form's like really good.
Strange, isn't it?
That's what's so bizarre. You're fourth in the table. And then in the Premier League, you're down to 16. So it's a similar story to last season.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know if we're going to go and win the Champions League, but
no, I think that's a bit too ambitious.
What do you reckon, Katie? Do you reckon that Sean Dyche would go in at Tottenham and would be accepted?
I think what I was listening to Dean Ashton speak about personalities at Tottenham and what Tottenham want as a manager. He thought that Thomas Frank was too nice for Tottenham. He didn't think the cool kids liked him, and the fans were never on board with Thomas Frank. Whereas someone like Ange Postecoglou, yes, he delivered them the Europa League trophy, but as a character, he backed himself. He was stubborn. He was a bit more rugged. Sean Dyche is actually of a similar kind of personality that I think would be accepted at Spurs. For some reason, Thomas Frank wasn't ever accepted. You can say, right, it was down to his style of play and whatever, but I feel as though Tottenham need a manager that has a bit more kind of, I don't know.
It's the players, isn't it?
They need to buy into it.
Yeah, Thomas Frank never seemed to have the players, and you feel like Sean Dyche, although he might not kind of give the it might not necessarily be like the best manager for like the attacking players and the squad and things like that. I just have to say quickly, don't give it to Johnny Heitinger, because that is not these board members now who have said they're going to do things differently, and they've annoyed people already by kind of not doing that in January. Johnny Heitinger, the coach that came in under Frank to support him, is not a decision. That's a cop-out. So don't do that. Go and get someone till the end of the season. If it's Sean Dyche, it's Sean Dyche. If it's De Zerbi and he'll do it 6 months, fine. But don't do Johnny Heitinger, because that's leading towards an interim for the interim for me.
Okay, well, Heitinger and De Zerbi on the back page of The Guardian. De Zerbi wants the Tottenham job on the back page of The Eye. And one more time on the back page of The Mirror. Sim, thank you very much.
Thanks, Katie.
For all of your insights. That's really interesting. Fascinating to see how that's going to play out until the end of the season. Right, thanks very much for all of your texts coming in this morning. We've been asking you, who's the most underrated EFL manager that Nottingham Forest could go and get until the end of the season, or permanent, in fact. We've got Ian in Hull saying Sergei Yakirovic at Hull City is so underrated. Took a team who stayed up on goal difference, serving a 2-window transfer embargo to 4th in the Championship table. Keep your hands off Forest. And a lot of love for the likes of Kieran McKenna at Ipswich. You've got, obviously, Frank Lampard at Coventry. Chris Wilder's also been mentioned. So, yeah, lots of people thinking, actually, EFL clubs have lots of managers that Nottingham Forest could employ. Also, our answers to today's top 5, lots of you getting them right this morning. This was quite tricky, I think, actually. Today's top 5 quiz was clubs that have made the most managerial changes in the Premier League. The top one and the answer, well done to Kieran, who got it. The top one was Southampton with 27 changes due to their managers in the Premier League. Tottenham was then second that we got. Tottenham with 26 changes. Third place was Chelsea, also with 26 changes. Then it was Newcastle, 24 changes. Well done to Andy, Darren and Steve from Grimsby. Well done, guys. And the fifth one was Everton, with 23 managerial changes in the Premier League. Lots of people are actually saying Aston Villa, they're actually down in 6th with 22 changes. So that is today's top 5. Keep your text coming in around all of the things we're asking you this morning about most underrated managers. But now it is time for this.
It's a front page throwdown.
Oh, what a move.
The front page is first on the early sports breakfast. Talk Sport.
Nick is back to take a look at the front pages. Where would you like to start, Nick?
I've got some boffin news, actually.
We haven't spoken about boffins in a while.
Well, you know I like to keep tabs on what the boffins are up to. Some boffins at the University of Maryland have developed smart underwear that records exactly how often someone passes wind. They found out, do you know how many times a day an average human farts?
10 times.
So the received wisdom before, it was thought to be 14, but apparently that's been absolutely thrown out the window. It's 32 times a day.
I mean, that is a lot.
The average person.
Is that how many times you can? Definitely not 32.
32, sure.
Well, maybe I'm not aware of many of them. 32?
Yeah. Which food makes you fart the most?
Baked beans.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you know, for me, it's the old KFC Zinger Tower Burger. I had to stop eating them, actually.
So that old Brussels sprouts.
Apparently, it's a bit of a gap in our sort of scientific knowledge. You know, we thought that that there was a baseline of 14, but it's now 32. You know, it's just helps us understand the human body a little bit more. But so there we go. I mean, absolutely shattering news. Also. Margot Robbie, apparently she says she's been kicked out of most nightclubs in Clapham. Now 35, the Australian used to live in South London, but she was coy over why. Just wondering, have you ever been kicked out of a nightclub?
I haven't, no.
I can't imagine you behaving badly in a nightclub.
Was I? I think maybe, no.
I got thrown out of one in Southampton once.
Did you thrown out?
Yeah.
What on earth were you doing?
Well, I was very drunk, and the bouncers had kindly and politely told me not to go on the dance floor with the glass. And then I went on a second time, and then 2 guys came and picked me up and threw me out.
It's so scary when you know you're like, oh no, actually no.
Yeah.
You get thrown out, you see them coming, you're like, right, he's gone.
But it was only that. So I was just a little bit, I had too many drinks. Obviously drink sensibly, if that's what you're up to. And Lewis Capaldi's got a phobia of all sea life. It's called thalassophobia. The singer from Glasgow says he hates any sort of sea life. I don't think I'm offending any of them. I just hate them in general. I'm scared of them. Got any phobias?
Fish?
Anything in the sea.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
Well, it's a real...
I know it's a real thing.
Real phobia. He also has Tourette's.
How are you scared of little tropical fish?
Because it's like another world, isn't it? It's weird.
Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
I can understand, fear of dark water. A lot of people have that.
You scared of anything?
Probably sharks.
Well, that's sort of rational, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you seen a shark?
If it's I have actually gone cage shark diving.
Where?
In South Africa.
With great whites.
Yeah, and weirdly, it was really quite calming. And that might sound absolutely bizarre,
they're
but basically
beautiful
they
animals.
put but they're so slow, massive under the water. So they put the cage over the side of the boat. So if it comes unhooked, then you're really screwed. But yeah, you go down, you hold your breath, go down, got a little snorkel, and then they put the bait out. And all the sharks come right up to the cage. And the cage is actually probably about a foot. There's a foot gap. So they say if you put your arm out, we have to go back to shore. So the sharks come right past. And I remember skimming the cage and being absolutely terrified. But also it was so slow and they were quite graceful. So you're thinking, oh, right. So it was actually quite relaxing if you could see them. But then if you put your head above the water, you could just see a fin. That was much more daunting because you can't see what's underneath the water. Coming back to fear of water and
fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown.
Do you sleep with the lights off?
Yes.
You don't have a little night light or anything like that?
Don't have a little nightlife. I mean, you know us. We need to get as much sleep as possible. So, okay. Nick, thank you very much for now. The time is 5:48. This is Early Sports Breakfast. Me, Katie Shanahan. Up next, we're going to be looking ahead to Arsenal's game against Brentford, which you can listen to on talkSPORT tonight.
big statement here, but I think that might just be the worst refereeing or VAR decision we've ever had.
No, it's not. It's not.
How can you say it's a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity when Man City scored?
Because Haaland dragged down Slobosai.
Yeah, but Szoboszlai dragged Haaland.
Yeah.
Haaland dragged Szoboszlai, which is something we see all the time.
No, you don't. Not like that. Not two separate incidences.
So, okay, so you give one.
Yeah.
But then you've also got to give the other because there was two incidents. So then how can you give both?
So he played advantage, and then Haaland's in the advantage. He does foul Szoboszlai. You mean you can't get away from it?
It's the decision is right. It's the right call. And
it's not. Listen, by the laws of the game, it's the right call.
Yes. Yeah,
Good morning. I'm Katie Shanahan, and this is Early Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Good to have your company. Jim White and Simon Jordan are back at 10 a.m. They'll be reacting to the bombshell news that Sean Dyche was sacked overnight from Nottingham Forest following their goalless draw. They had 35 shots on goal and weren't able to break the deadlock. We're also building up to, of course, the breakfast show, which is coming up in 8 minutes' time with Alan Brazil and Gabby Ogbonlahor. Coming up today on the station, well, it's over to Arsenal. Can they restore their lead at the top of the Premier League to 6 points as they face a tricky trip to Brentford?
Held in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, taking a touch, and he's volleyed in. Dongo Watara. Brentford score from a long throw yet again. Base here for Thiago, who's beaten the offside trap, got into the penalty area and smashed it into the roof of the net.
Brentford were brilliant, up to 7.
It's keeping striving and keeping pushing. If we can maintain that, that will only bring you in one direction. Fans have to get excited.
Here's Eze inside the penalty area. Gyökeres pokes it in. Trossard has hit it in. Brilliant. Feeds it back to Zubamendi. Takes two touches. Slams it into the net.
Arsenal riding the crest of a wave right now. And the quadruple feels very much on.
It's going to be a really tough game. We know that the run that they are in, how strong they've been at home as well. The last few results that they had, the work Keith and the coaching staff are doing amazing. Big credit to them because they are a top side.
So it's top against 7th tonight. Kai Havertz for Arsenal is out injured. He misses 2 games. Leandro Trossard, I've just been reading, is a doubt as well with a suspected calf injury. So you'd think Gabriel Martinelli will start out on the left. Arsenal's lead would go back to 6 points with a win. It's currently 3 after Man City's 3-0 win over Fulham last night. Brentford are winless in their last 8 games against Arsenal, and Arsenal have only lost 1 of their last 23 London derbies. As for Igor Thiago, he has scored 9 in his last 10 Premier League games, so he's in great form. So could he upset Mikel Arteta's title push? Now, Brentford boss Keith Andrews actually sat down exclusively with talkSPORT's Natalie Sawyer yesterday ahead of the Arsenal game, exclusively on talkSPORT for you tonight. 8 o'clock kickoff for that one. And we asked about Frank's sacking at Spurs. He told us that Thomas Frank is a friend and he feels sorry for him.
Really sad, really, was what I was feeling. and I said that to the players. The industry that we work in obviously is very unforgiving at times. But he's someone that is a friend. He was part of the reason why I came to Brentford. Really wanted to come to this football club, and I loved working with him. I really enjoyed working with him last season. Learned a lot. We're in touch pretty frequently, so I'm sure I'll catch up with him pretty soon.
And you expect him to still have a great managerial future?
I think he's a really good manager. I think he's, as you well know, he's proved that over numerous years at this club. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, things haven't quite worked out at Spurs.
Well, you can hear the full interview on kickoff from 7 o'clock tonight on talkSPORT. We bring you live and exclusive commentary of Brentford against Arsenal. And in case you missed, that full interview is available on talkSPORT's YouTube channel now. So 8 o'clock kickoff, Brentford against Arsenal, exclusively on talkSPORT. Thank you so much for all your texts coming in this morning. We've had a lorry load of them. Thank you very much. We are talking about underrated EFL managers that could come in and take over at Nottingham Forest. Oh, you haven't put your name on the text. This was, what about Paul Cook from Chesterfield for Nottingham Forest, one of the longest serving managers in the Football League. We've also had lots of shouts for Kieran McKenna from Ipswich, Frank Lampard at Coventry. You'd think Frank would stay with Coventry because he's going to be trying to get them promoted. Same probably with Kieran McKenna, actually, as they push for automatic promotion. We've also got, we were doing our today's top 5 quiz. Southampton was the top with a number of changes. So Mark in Grimsby, you're right. I thought your colleague said current Premier League teams. He did, but Southampton were top in terms of the most managerial changes in the Premier League. We've also got this from Noodles here. Katie, I think Sir Keir Starmer would be a good fit for the next manager of Nottingham Forest. Very experienced at launching from one crisis to another, so should be a perfect fit. Right, thanks to everyone for getting in touch today. And finally, I can see that Gabby Bonhor is doing his stretches outside. So the boys are coming up on the breakfast show where Salford boss Carl Robinson will be on the programme. The boys will be here in just a couple of minutes' time. And we've also got the Wigan captain, Jason Kerr, on the programme as well. You've been listening to Early Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, on the programme. Alan Brazil and Gabby Bonhor are on the way next. Have a great day.
I don't see. I look at Arsenal and I've watched all the games because I'm waiting for them to slip up, and they can just change it. They can bring 5 players off the bench who should have started, and I think it's look. As much as none of us want Arsenal to win it, we just have to accept that it's their year, and they've been building it for 5 years, and it's their time. Yeah. And it's not because I think Arsenal are particularly great. This Arsenal side won't go down as a great Premier League team. They won't even be in the top 10. Right? It's because